You have probably seen an old car battery like this sitting in a corner, drained flat and looking completely useless. Most people see the dead voltage, assume the case holds nothing worth saving, and throw the whole thing away. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I open this battery, show the real problem inside, and walk through a careful repair that can bring it back into use again. First, this battery needs a real test. A small bulb gives a quick answer, a multimeter gives the next answer. I set the dial to DC voltage, place the red probe on the positive terminal, place the black probe on the negative terminal, and wait for the reading. The screen shows 0 volts. That result confirms the bulb test. This battery is not just weak, it is fully discharged and unable to hold a usable charge in its current state. Now the top cover needs to come off, so I use a flat screwdriver and a small hammer. The screwdriver tip goes into the seam between the lid and the case. Then I tap it lightly with the hammer until a small gap starts to open. I keep working my way around the edge, tapping a little at a time as the seam slowly separates. As the adhesive starts to give way, the cover gradually lifts off without damaging the battery housing. Once the lid loosens, the old electrolyte comes out next. Before anything pours, gloves go on, safety glasses go on, and the work area stays open for ventilation. Look at that color. The liquid appears dark, thick, and dirty. That is a strong clue. The cells contain contamination, residue, and sulfate buildup. Those materials interfere with chemical activity and stop the battery from storing energy the way it should. The drained liquid goes to one side so the heavier material can settle at the bottom. Next comes the first rinse with clean water. A funnel sits over the opening, and filtered water pours into each cell from a glass container. Equal amounts go into every chamber because even distribution helps flush the inside more evenly. After the cells fill, the battery gets a controlled shake. Forward, back, side to side. That movement pushes the water around the plates and loosens grime that has settled deep in the bottom. Then the water drains back out. The result looks ugly. Now this repair takes a turn that surprises almost everyone. Coca-Cola goes into the battery. That sounds strange at first, and that strange detail creates curiosity. Why would a soft drink ever belong inside a car battery? Here's the short answer. Coke contains a mild acid, and that acidity can help loosen oxidation and soften stubborn residue. It does not replace real electrolyte, and it does not perform magic, but it can also help break down grime during a cleaning cycle like this one. Then the battery rests for about 30 minutes. During that time, the liquid works across the internal surfaces and starts attacking the buildup that plain water leaves behind. While the Coke works inside the battery, a homemade sealer gets prepared on the bench. A small amount of gasoline goes into a metal cup. Pieces of Styrofoam drop in next. The foam collapses almost immediately. That reaction happens because Styrofoam contains a lot of trapped air inside a polystyrene structure, and gasoline breaks that structure down very fast. The air escapes. The bulk disappears. The material turns into a sticky, dense mass. More foam goes in a little at a time until the mixture thickens and starts to look like glue. A stirring stick blends it into a smooth paste. This material matters later because it spreads well, grips plastic tightly, and hardens into a moisture-resistant seal after curing. The finished compound waits on the side until the battery needs to be closed up again. After that 30-minute wait, attention returns to the Coke inside the battery. The case gets another steady shake so the liquid can move through all the chambers one more time. Then the Coke drains out. This time, the liquid looks cleaner than the first rinse. And that is a very good sign. The battery now gets 2 more rinses with filtered water. Fill each cell, shake the case, drain the liquid. Repeat. We want every trace of soda out before the electrolyte goes back in. This part is simple, but it still matters because any soda left inside would interfere with the battery later. If you are watching from another country, leave a comment and say where you are from. If another good way to clean an old battery comes to mind, put that idea in the comments too. We all learn more when different methods come into the conversation. Once the rinse water runs clear, the saved electrolyte comes back into the process. By now, the sediment has settled at the bottom of the first container. The useful liquid sits above it. That cleaner portion gets poured into a smaller plastic bottle through a filter. The filter catches a lot of dark material, and that detail says a lot about the battery's condition. Those trapped solids help explain the dead reading from the beginning. They block good chemical exchange, contaminate the cells, and reduce the battery's ability to recover. After filtering, the cleaner electrolyte goes back into the battery. The liquid pours slowly into each chamber, and the level stays even across the row. Consistent volume matters because uneven filling can create uneven cell behavior once charging begins. Now comes one of the most important parts of the whole repair: sealing the lid. A leaking battery is not just messy, it is dangerous. Escaping acid can damage the case, corrode surrounding metal, and create a serious safety problem. The homemade sealer goes into a syringe for better control. The syringe tip follows the contact line between the battery body and the lid, laying down a smooth bead of adhesive all the way around. No gaps get left open, corners get extra attention, wide spots get a little more material. This homemade compound works well here because it bonds to plastic, resists liquid, and fills small imperfections in the seam. A strong seal keeps the electrolyte inside, keeps dirt outside, and protects the battery during later use. I do not leave weak spots in a seam that holds acid. With the sealer in place, the lid returns to the top of the battery. Pressure goes on with both hands so the cover seats evenly. The edge gets checked all the way around. The cap sits flat, so tape goes over the lid to hold it tight while the adhesive cures. The taped battery then rests for about 12 hours. That waiting period allows the seal to firm up and build a stronger bond before charging starts. You cannot rush a seal and expect a safe result. During that drying time, other details can still get attention. The positive and negative terminals come first. Coarse sandpaper scrubs away oxidation from both posts. Fresh metal appears underneath. And that matters because corroded terminals create poor contact even when the battery still has charge. After sanding, a little WD-40 goes onto a cloth. The cloth wipes both terminals and the outer case. WD-40 helps displace moisture, reduce fresh oxidation, and remove greasy grime from the surface. Clean terminals improve contact. A cleaner case also makes later inspections easier. There is one more detail on top worth checking: the magic eye. A screwdriver is used to remove it carefully, and the area is cleaned. This small optical indicator helps show battery condition through color. It works from the density of the internal liquid, so a dirty window can make quick visual checks less reliable. Cleaning that part gives a clearer view and helps with later maintenance. Once the sealer has cured, the battery goes onto a proper 12-volt charger. The positive clamp connects to the positive terminal. The negative clamp connects to the negative terminal. The charger powers on and recognizes the battery. That response is a strong sign of progress. At the beginning, the battery could not light a tiny bulb. Now the charger sees a battery that can accept current again. We have moved from failure to recovery. After the charging finishes, the multimeter comes back for another voltage test. The display now shows about 11.9 volts. That is a major jump from zero, and the number proves the cleaning and refill made a real difference. If this process gave you a useful idea, leave a comment and say which step surprised you most. If practical repair projects like this fit your style, subscribe to the channel and stay with us for the next build. Simple materials, unusual ideas, and useful results belong here.